What did you make last month in revenue?
Last month, we did 112K in revenue.
Okay. And was that your biggest month?
Yep, that was our biggest month so far. Yeah, I mean, when you approached me, it was my final straw. I was at the point where we've tried different companies and nothing worked. I was fully convinced that ads were just something that we weren't going to do here. I've used some of the biggest ad agencies in the space, and I'll tell you that I would much rather be in this position. And then with the other company we've used, there was no volume as far as leads. There would be times where a lead wouldn't come in for a whole week, and when it did come in, it was low quality. Where with Ismail, we see sometimes 4, 5, 6 leads a day. People seem pretty ready to buy.
Okay. All right. What's up, guys? I'm here with Avery. Avery, can you go ahead and introduce yourself first?
Yeah, my name's Avery, and I own an auto enhancement shop in a small town in Western Colorado. The business has been running for 3 years now, and we specialize in detailing, window tint, PPF, coatings, you name it.
Okay. And real quick, what did you make last month in revenue?
Last month, we did 112K in revenue.
Okay. And was that your biggest month?
Yep, that was our biggest month so far. Previously, our best month was 90K.
Okay. And what do you feel like changed that allowed you to hit those numbers?
Well, I've always been very tentative when it comes to choosing a marketing company, and I've been burnt several times. And for every time we've tried, I've been super hesitant just because it's been low quality leads. You get a bunch of tire kickers, or we get very low amounts of leads. And Ismail, I'd used him in the past when I first started my business, and it was always, pretty effective with what we had at the time. But now I've noticed a really big difference in the lead quality. People seem ready to buy. And so my expectations have changed entirely. And I realized that I've been working with poor companies in the past, and this has made a massive difference when it comes to adding additional revenue on top of what we already have organically.
So talk a bit about, obviously without naming the companies, what have you tried in the past in terms of marketing, and what kind of results did you see?
Yeah, I mean, we've tried 2 other marketing companies. One of them we tried twice. The biggest thing that we saw was very low quality leads. We were running ads for ceramic coatings and getting leads about full paint jobs, which had nothing to do with anything that we offer. You get a bunch of extremely cheap people when they do come in. They're not ready to buy. They're just looking around for the cheapest price. And then with the other company we've used, there was no volume as far as leads. There would be times where a lead wouldn't come in for a whole week, and when it did come in, it was low quality. Where with Ismail, we see sometimes 4, 5, 6 leads a day. People seem pretty ready to buy. We're running a special on tint right now. Ismail had the awesome idea to offer an entry-level film, and I was hesitant to do that at first, but since we've done that, we haven't used the entry-level film a single time, and have sold a lot of jobs with both ceramic and carbon tint for 3/4 of the price, or an additional 3/4.
And for everyone watching, this is not a shop that offers ceramic tint for like $400, right? We're a premium shop. Our pricing, I think, for ceramic is like what, about 600.
Yeah, on a truck, $600. Most people add windshield, so we're turning $350 special into $600 to $1,000 at the end of the day.
Now, one important thing, when you had tried these agencies, you tried obviously ads. Did you think that ads didn't work in your area, or did you think that, hey, if I run ads, I'm just bound to get low quality leads? Or what was your perspective after that?
Yeah, I mean, when you approached me, it was my final straw. I was at the point where we've tried different companies and nothing worked. I was fully convinced that ads were just something that we weren't going to do here. In the past, all of our revenue has been organic, and so I was okay with that. But now my perspective has totally changed, and I understand that you can make it work even if you are in a smaller area. And also, Ismail and his team are more cost effective than the inefficient agencies that we've been using.
Yeah. The thing is, we get a lot of people who have worked with a lot of agencies, and just because they haven't been able to get them the right leads or have the right strategies, they just unfortunately think that ads don't work, which obviously is not the case. Like these are billion-dollar companies, and it's always different for different people. Like for example, for you, we had a lower package just to position upsells as well.
Yeah.
But I guess looking forward, where do you see what goals you have for the shop? What revenue do you want to hit, or what do you want to see going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to grow. I'd love to potentially add another mobile unit in a nicer, smaller area. As far as the detailing goes, I want the business to run as efficient as possible without me being here. Eventually have a sales guy come in and take care of the leads. That way, we have someone that only focuses on that and also upselling jobs. And so, yeah, our goal is just growth. It'd be cool to do $150,000 to $200,000 a month and take over more of our market and really continue to be known as the go-to people for high quality work.
Yeah, and I think for everyone watching who doesn't know, I think you did about 115 without a salesperson, right? You were doing the sales. What was
And
your
that's
team?
with a lot of leads also slipping through the cracks.
Yeah. So still like inefficiencies, but obviously we focus on the lowest hanging fruit. And what would you say last thing to anyone who's kind of on the fence, who maybe is scared of my accent?
I was scared of Ismail's accent for the first time 3 years ago. And believe it or not, I was his first ever client back then. And even though he didn't want to admit it, but I was obviously concerned, to an extent. But over the years, Ismail and I have built a friendship. We've stayed in contact. He's been doing my SEO for still 3 years at this point. And, I gave him a shot. And it's been great so far. They help with planning. They help with ideas. They give you scripts, kind of guide you along the way. It's not you pay me and then we'll run your ads and you figure it out from there. So I've used some of the biggest ad agencies in the space, and I'll tell you that I would much rather be in this position.
Appreciate the kind words. For everyone, this wasn't paid, even though it might seem like it might have been paid. But yeah, no, thank you, Avery. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out.
Yeah.